Now, there's no doubt about it that there's a lot of skeptics remaining over for the Star Wars franchise, especially with the up-and-coming Ahsoka Tano series being led by both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. More so Dave Filoni because, let's face it, he wrote the entire movie on his own. Meanwhile, Favreau only took part in little about that. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that Lucasfilm has been dealing with a lot of L's lately, a lot of losses on their end, a lot of failures combined with, box office collapses with Indiana Jones 5, Solo: A Star Wars Story, and how the Kenobi series and Boba Fett led to many Disney Plus subscribers either giving up and unsubscribing or having less frequency on staying subscribed, right? There's a lot of people nowadays that sign up for Disney Plus for a month, watch a show, and then they unsubscribe. In fact, everybody that I know personally does that. Disney hates that. They don't like people that do that. They would prefer people to stick around and wait for the other upcoming shows related to Marvel and just other projects by Disney in general. However, what's really intriguing has a lot to do with what's going on between Gina Carano and Kathleen Kennedy behind closed doors and exactly what Carano recently did, not just to Lucasfilm, as we briefly talked about yesterday. But there's more to that development that has a lot to do with Kathleen Kennedy's tactics and specific strategies that she was about to unfold toward the Star Wars fans. Let's get into all of this. Now, with Bob Iger making bold decisions lately for Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars in general, however, one major development has much to do with actress Gina Carano and Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. One surprising turn of events that did happen behind the scenes was that Kathleen Kennedy was creating a plan to win back Star Wars fans for her Skeleton Crew series in the form of Season 2 by welcoming back Gina Carano to portray Cara Dune in the series as a major role and not just a cameo. Kennedy had created a plan with showrunner Jon Watts to turn Cara Dune into one of the main roles for that series. Gina was well aware of this offer being formed between Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Watts of the Spider-Man films, and as it turns out, Watts wanted to bring back Gina in open arms to Star Wars and convinced Kennedy to move along with the said plan. Now, recently, not only did Carano decline her role and offer for Cara Dune's return in Mando Season 4, Dave Filoni's movie, etc., but also she rejected Kathleen Kennedy's offer to return as Cara Dune in the second season of Skeleton Crew that they plan to drop on Disney Plus as early as 2025. Now, guys, let me pause here for one moment. This is where things get, honestly, I think, very impressive for Gina Carano as an actress and as a person. And I mentioned this yesterday that, look, as much as I would like to believe a lot of fans would love to see Cara Dune return, I think a lot of fans should also respect about how Gina is also defending her own, dignity and really taking part in self-respect. The fact that she is guarding that and standing her ground and defending herself, I think is great. It's fantastic. It just goes to show that she does have character. And look, even if she did accept these roles and these returns and these offers by Kathleen Kennedy, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, etc., even Jon Watts, it would have still been something that I think would have really satisfied a lot of fans out there to an extent, but we all have to realize the reality of the situation. Kathleen Kennedy was just using Gina Carano in this scenario. She was only looking to use her, essentially, as a marketing stunt and as a way to boost viewership levels and fan engagement levels and, fan frequency and stuff like that. And the fact that Gina picked up on all of that in the end, and even realized that early on, but really had a long decision-making process on this. So, the fact that she abruptly made this decision and wrecked Kathleen Kennedy's momentum for really winning back a lot of desperate fans, I think is a brilliant move on Gina Carano's end of what's been happening behind closed doors about this ongoing development by Kathleen Kennedy to make Skeleton Crew into a multi-season series. Which I don't even know why they're doing this. We already know that Skeleton Crew is going to be more or less of one of the lower, end Star Wars series. It's going to be more small-scale focused. It's going to be less expensive than some of the other ones out there, like Star Wars Andor, etc., etc. However, on top of this reportedly sent Kennedy into a shock, as she believed Carano would take the role and the bait, and how it was going to boost ratings for the already floundering Skeleton Crew series, due to its hellish production between the cast and the crew that went on for Mando Season 4 as well, with the scripts that are now being rewritten and or rethought, but also for Dave Filoni's movie and the Skeleton Crew series that have scenes with Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin. Gina rejected all said offers by Kennedy and Disney and stood her ground and defended her own self and her own self-respect after zero interest in returning for the role of Cara Dune. And she literally dismantled all of Kennedy's plans to win back desperate fans, and of course for Gina's return as Cara Dune as a marketing stunt of hers that got ruined. Now look, here's the interesting thing about this, and we talked about this back in April, if you guys have been around for a while, is that Kennedy did fire Pedro Pascal from Skeleton Crew Season 1. We talked about this, where he got let go as Din Djarin because he wanted to have his helmet off. She wasn't all about that. She also wanted to do a fake-out death scene for Din Djarin where you think he's dead, but he's not really dead, where, he explodes in a shipwreck. Similar to what they did to Chewbacca in The Rise of Skywalker. He didn't want that either, because he didn't want to set fans up for disappointment, even if it's going to be a fake-out. Now, that led him to raising his concerns and Kathleen Kennedy having creative differences with him, firing him from those cameos for Skeleton Crew only. Doesn't mean he's fired entirely, but she fired him from that said show, removed him as the cameos, and then she begged him to come back, and he said no. Very similar here to what Gina Carano is doing. She fired her from Mando Season 3 and from all other Lucasfilm Star Wars projects, and how she wanted nothing to do with her moving onwards. Now, recently, she formed this plan to bring her back in Skeleton Crew as Cara Dune to become a part of Special Forces, because as you all know, in the current canon, Cara Dune does get upgraded to Special Forces, as per, mentioned in Mando Season 3. She wanted to establish that visually speaking. That all fell apart once Gina defended herself finally and said, no, I'm not coming back. She wants no interest anymore. And you know what? I respect that. I really do. As much of a downer as it may be to some fans out there that really wanted her to return, I think that this is better. It just goes to show you that more and more people are beginning to wake up, and they are guarding their dignity and really guarding their self-respect. So, anyway guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.